Okay, this next video is about the 4 different ways you can represent a pattern, which is a huge focus of our class in algebra. The first way we start learning about patterns is through these things called tile patterns, where they'll give you like a figure 0, a figure 1, a figure 2, and you have to try and continue the pattern. And so you're looking at things. You're looking at, well, what gets added or subtracted to each picture to make it bigger or smaller. In this case, it's adding. It's growing. This first figure 0 only had 2 tiles. Well, here's those 2 tiles in figure 1. Looks like they added 1, 2, 3 more tiles onto the picture. So if you go to figure 2, here's the first figure. But let's shade those 3 extras that got added on in the last one. And it looks like 1, 2, 3 more tiles get added on in this pattern. So you can kind of quickly see what figure 3 and figure 4 would look like. Our job is to take this pattern and convert it into a couple of different things. A table. And a table means that we're going to have what we call an in and an out. In is the x values, which we'll talk about in a minute, and out is the y values. In this case, all the ins are the figure numbers. So I'm going to split this table up. The figure numbers are figure 0, figure 1, and figure 2. So 0, 1, and 2. And if I wanted to keep going, I could draw figure 3 and figure 4 and figure 5 and make a bigger table. The out is going to be the number of tiles. If we counted up how many tiles, like you see figure 0 up here, it only has 2 tiles in it. So figure 0 has 2 tiles. Figure 1 has 2 plus 3 more, so 5 tiles. Figure 2 looks like it keeps growing up, has 8 tiles if you count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I can tell what the pattern's doing, it's adding 3, then I can figure out what's going to happen with the next figure. If you added 3 again, it would have 11. And I could continue this out. I could go to figure 4, figure 5, figure 6. I don't really want to, but I could. So that's the basic idea. You want to set up a table with at least the first few figure numbers in it. Then after you get a table, you need to be able to find 2 things. The growth of the table and what is figure 0. Because those are going to be what help you write a rule. Now we know what the growth is. It's adding 3. So the growth is 3. We know figure 0 has 2 tiles. So we have 2 tiles. All rules for these patterns, since they're in a straight line, are y equals mx plus b. M stands for the growth. It's a number. And b stands for figure 0. It's also a number. And we found out both these numbers. So when I say write a rule, I mean put 3 where the growth is and 2 where figure 0 is. So the rule for this pattern is y equals 3x plus 2. Okay, here's our rule. I'll put a box around it. So you should be able to look at a pattern like this and make a table, write a rule. The rule always has the growth number with the x and always has figure 0 on the end. The other thing you need to be able to do is graph it. So the next step, I'm going to move this up, is to draw an xy axis. Y-axis is the one that goes up and down. X goes across. And all good graphs have labels. So we're going to put numbers on our graph. We're not going to leave it blank and empty. We want scale numbers. So I'm going to scale it. I'm going to keep it easy. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll put my negatives on here. So go backwards. -1, -2, -3. Or go down -1, -2, -3. And you can graph this rule fairly simply by using the table, by taking all these points in the table and plotting them. So like see how you have a point at 0, 2, and 1, 5? Well, go down to your graph and find 0, 2. 0 is right at the center. 2 is up right there. So I'm going to put a point. 1, 5 means you go over 1 on the x, because that was the in, up to 5. That's going to be right there. 2, 8 over 2 up 8. I'm going to start getting off my graph here. 5, 6, 7, 8. It's going to be up towards the top. You only need a couple, because that's all it takes to see that this graph looks like a line. And I can even label, like, here was 0, 2. Here was 1, 5. If I had kept going, I would have had 2, 8, and 3, 11. I would have continued the pattern from the table. And a good graph always has the rule written somewhere near it. So let's write down at the bottom, y equals 3x plus 2. And so those are the 4 different ways we want to be able to represent a pattern. With a graph, with a rule, with a table, and with a tile pattern. And you should be able to go in between these. I could give you a table, and you would have to make up the pattern, write the rule in the graph. Or I could give you the graph, and you'd have to work backwards to find the table and the rule and the tile pattern. And those are our 4 representations.